Show starts now. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's that time once again, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. It's the Undisputed Wrestling Show. I am one of your main co-hosts, the incredible Huck, the Morning Star, Will Huckabee, and I'm joined tonight with Kevin Sullivan's favorite referee, Sign Guy. Sign Guy, what's going on?
Another great Tuesday afternoon, Huck. How's it going with you?
It's going great with me, man. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, once again, Zane Paisley, the bearded wonder, Das Wunderbeard, can't be with us. Neither can Drew Skills. But I do believe that me and Sangai, once again, are good enough to hold it down and have a great Tuesday night. What do you think, Sangai?
It's a lot of pressure, but I think we can handle it. And if not, I will get a phone call from Drew Skills telling me that I be sucking.
Well, you know, at least Drew has never done you like Zane and Rick, the prophet, our executive producer, Rick Craig, used to do for me and call me a scud. That's like the worst insult to have on this show, to be called a scud. So at least you haven't reached scud status yet.
Haven't hit that yet.
So, man, you know, we got a great show tonight. For the first hour, we have former ROH star, manager for Homicide and Low Key and a bunch of other guys. Right now, he's a manager of Valkyrie Women's Pro Wrestling, Julius Smokes. And then the second hour, making his return to the Undisputed Wrestling Show. It's the first time he was on the show. You know, we had a lot of technical difficulties and stuff. We're going to have a Rory Fox on in the second hour. Sign Guy, how was your weekend, man?
It was very, very, very interesting. Worked a benefit show. It was multi-promotional, multi-styled event, pro wrestling, variation of a cross between pro wrestling and MMA in a few matches from a brand new company. That was interesting. I officiated a professional wrestling wedding that was very, very different from anything I've ever witnessed before in my life. So it was very intriguing. And then I got the word when I got home from the wedding gimmick, Jason Kincaid is coming to NWA Blue Collar next week, and I'm 99.64328398.2% sure that means your jersey will be coming to Portland on Sunday.
Probably. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this. But Sign Guy, right now we have our first guest on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest to use former ROH manager. He's the manager for Homicide, for Low Key, Roderick Strong, Austin. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let me put to you, Mr. Julius Smokes. Julius, how are you doing today?
Yo, bubbling, baby. Feeling real good, you know what I mean?
Word. I also got my co-host on the line, Julius, Kevin Sullivan's favorite referee. He actually said it on this show a couple of weeks ago. Sign Guy. Sign Guy, go ahead and say hi to Julius before we start this.
How are you doing, Mr. Smokes?
Wow, you roll with the game master himself, Kevin Sullivan. I hear you. I like that. Florida Championship Wrestler was one of the best of all time.
Absolutely.
Now, Julius, being that you're a first-time guest on the show and stuff, what we like to do is get a little bit of history on you. Get a little bit, find out how our guests got into the business, who they were trained by, you know, where they broke in, who were their early influences. So, for our fans and listeners' benefit, go and tell us a little bit about your background getting into professional wrestling.
Like Madonna, huh? This is my first time, like a virgin. I like it. No, but basically, I started back like 96, 97 with Lalo the Don, Miguel Perez, which he was running the Urban Wrestling Federation. The Urban Wrestling League, back in Brooklyn, out of Reno, Puerto Rico. That's where I met Bobby Lambardi, Homicide, and TOT. Actually, I met TOT at the Urban Wrestling League. Basically from there, the Doghouse moved to 940 Jamaica Avenue in Brooklyn in 99, 2000. And, the rest is history. You know, Low Key, his squad, Low Life Louie, J Lover, which is on TV, New York Undercover and everything like that. So, can't beat it with a stick, man. Literally.
Now, you know, you started off in 96, 97 and stuff, and you got your big You came to ROH around 2001, 2002, and supporting Homicide stuff. As I hate to use the term, but as one of those quote-unquote street thugs and stuff, we're going to say manager. How did that come about?
Well, Homicide and I, we originated the Rottweilers from 940 Jamaica Avenue, which is the Long Island Wrestling Federation, the Doghouse. That's where we trained at, which turned into the professional company, which was the Long Island Wrestling Federation, and it was ran by Bobby Lambardi. But we started a tag team there. Homicide was already wrestling Jersey All-Pro and traveling all across the world. So I started going to Ring of Honor shows with them. They liked my energy. Gage stepped to me and let me know that Homicide needed somebody in this corner. And he liked my street Mortismo and the gimmicks and everything. And he wanted to incorporate it with Homicide and taking on the road. Rest is history, baby.
Now, of course, you know, I've been watching ROH almost since its beginning and stuff. And so I remember the Bunkhouse match between, you know, Dusty Rhodes and Steve Corino, and you were there for that epic encounter and everything and stuff. How was it being a part?
I got my credits on that match. I wrestled on that match right there.
I was about to say, how was it wrestling in that match?
It was an amazing experience. I think Gabe, I think Kerry, Rob Feinstein at the time, trusted in me to go in there and make an impact, and the opportunity was there. The wrestler with Dusty Rhodes, the legend from the wrestling I grew up watching, which is NWA, Greensboro, North Carolina, baby. The Greensboro Coliseum, it was nothing like it. I thought it was better than Madison Square Garden when it came down to wrestling, but that's my opinion. But I loved it.
Now you just said a good word. Now, you just said some pretty big words, because I live in North Carolina. I'm a Carolina guy. And so I was raised on Jim Crockett Promotions and stuff, man, watching a lot of those early matches, a lot of those, the original, you know, bunkhouse brawls and stuff. And for you to say that match was just as good, if not better, man, that's been a huge stamp on it.
Yeah, and Dusty Rhodes felt comfortable coming into the younger guys that was there, because he understood that it was a revolution going on with the Lucha Libre wrestlers, people doing 85 moves in one match and not really telling a story. So when Dusty Rhodes came there, everybody just got in rotation and just understood what wrestling was all about. And that's what the Ring of Honor represented. Wrestling, personified wrestling at its best. And it was a blessing in disguise. I love you, Dusty Rhodes. Rest in peace.
Now, you were there in ROH, you know, basically the beginning and stuff, in the early times with, you know, where Roderick Strong and Austin Aries were basically, you know, mid-card, low-card, mid-card guys and stuff.
Before Roderick Strong. Hold on. Before Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong didn't come through in, like, what, 2004 or 5? I was there, like, in 2002 or 3. Yes. Now,
my question is, being there at the beginning of ROH to where ROH is now, what do you think about the product of ROH?
I like the direction they're going into, because they're not scared to give the young talent, pass the ball to the young talent, and let them carry them over the finish line. You know what I'm saying? And Jay Lethal was doing a phenomenal job, and he waited his turn. And man, boy, you say no more. Basically, what he's doing, and the tag team action and some of the veterans that they bring back there to nurture the new guys that's there to understand what this product is all about. I can't say no more. Plus, Prince Nana is still there behind the scenes. You got Kerry there behind the scenes. It's going to keep it going like a well-oiled machine and keep the tradition there. So I think they're going in the right direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show on the Angry Martyrs Podcast Network. Make sure you can listen to not only this interview, if you want to hear it again, I'm pretty sure you will, but every previous episodes on the Undisputed Wrestling Show.weebly.com. And right now, I'm going to pass the mic over and tag in Kevin Sullivan's favorite referee, Sign Guy. Sign Guy, what do you have for Julius?
The Prince of Darkness. Come on, boy. What's good? Maniac Mark Lauren. I know all about that Kevin Sullivan crew. Let's go. Purple Haze.
Absolutely, go Mark Lewin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Kevin Sullivan, he made his Ring of Honor debut this past Friday at the pay-per-view. He sided with B.J. Whitmer. Looks like he's going to be managing him. He's one of the few managers on the national level right now. You have him, you have a bunch of valets, really, and you have Truth Martini. That's about all as far as really prominent national level managers. Where do you think the art of managing started to get lost in professional wrestling?
Probably during the WCW days when it was getting those large NFL contracts and not worrying about nurturing and protecting the sport of wrestling towards what it was. It was exposed and let too many people come behind the scenes to see who the Wizard of Oz really was. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, it got watered down to a certain extent. And then when the Ring of Honor came through, such as myself, Prince Nana, wow, you can't forget rest in peace, yo. You already know. I forgot it. Wow, he's right on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, I guess about like in 03, 04, and that's when everything resonated. They started putting the trust back in the manager's hands, understanding the psychology of wrestling. And I don't know. It's a major hole missing right now if Julius Smokes is under your card. Let's not beat around the bush. You know what I'm saying? And my name is not George. Let's not beat around the bush.
All right. Well, as a manager and the time that you broke in about 20 years ago, looking at the landscape of things as they are right now, do you think you would have had a longer career if you had gone in a path where you were in-ring wrestling more, or do you think you made the proper choice and focused a little bit more on managing to have a longer career?
I think a little bit of both. I think basically it's all about being the right time and the right place and the right click. Basically the guy who's writing the storylines, the booker, has to believe in the direction of what he wants to go into. You have to be a piece of his puzzle. Once a new booker comes through, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not a piece of his puzzle and what he want to work with, you're just as good as nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about who's the booker and who he wants to put up, what guys he want to put over. You notice when Gabe left, that's when I left, because that's for his dream of Julius Smokes being a Homicide's Corner or being with the Vulture Squad. You know, that's what it's all about. It all lies in the hand of the person who's writing the storylines. That's it. Everything else is superficial. Don't believe in it.
Wrestling.
I'm hitting crickets right now. What's going on? You don't believe me?
It's the truth. Yeah, I do. I believe you.
You know, it didn't matter how many times Homicide went to the new booker that was there about Julius Smokes. I just wasn't in his game plan. I wasn't in Jim Cornette's game plan. So that's why I wasn't in the Ring of Honor no more. They wanted to fade me out. Some people didn't really like rap and wrestling and certain black guys being in wrestling, acting that particular way and getting over. That's that's the way I look at it. So, I'm not using a race card. It's just what it is. And I'm not the traditional manager, so to speak. I came through and put my old signature on a game. I wasn't trying to be Jim Cornette. I wasn't trying to be Bobby the Brain Heenan. I was being Julius Smokes from where I came from, and I feel the fans know what the real deal is.
Well, when you got to Ring of Honor in 2002, it was completely different from what the Ring of Honor today is. Ring of Honor was just getting started and really had a completely different feel to it. Mm-hmm. As someone that was there from the very start, do you think that they are on the correct path now as far as being able to get to the level they want to be and be a player on the national level, or do you think that they were better suited with the style and the direction they had in 2002?
Well, do you think, okay, it's almost at the same time when Jim Crockett Promotions sold to Ted Turner. Jim Crockett Promotions, basically to me, was gritty. It was just like Bill Watts, UWF. They had their own certain southern appeal to their wrestling. But when they wanted to, quote unquote, be like Empire and sell it to the masses, other words, go Hollywood, they switched up, and it's a certain style you have to portray and have to present to the people that you want to put over when it comes down to distribution your product. You know what I'm saying? So Ring of Honor was almost like when they first came in, it was like ECW, anything goes. You know what I'm saying? They had that certain appeal to it. It was like, wow, it was different, and it was exciting, it was gritty, it was what you wanted. And then once they reached where they wanted to be at and sold the company to the man, so to speak, you know, they had to switch up and play by the rules. Some people call it growing up. Some people, might call it selling out. I call it business. It is what it is.
It's a very, very good point. Well, Ring of Honor in the last couple of years, they've started merchandising themselves with action figures. They've gotten live pay-per-view television back. They've got... You know, it's kind of ironic about
the merchandising. The toy company called me, and I spoke to them. So they were thinking about doing the retro Rockwallers, some of the legends, and all that different stuff. So we're going to see where that go at.
Also, there could be a Julius Smokes action figure still in the works.
It's a possibility. I've always been a team player. I'm a private contractor, so they presented to me. I said go with it because Ring of Honor was my home. And I stepped out the game and started my own record company, so I got royalties and certain things that protect my name and merchandising anyway. So I'm incorporated now. You know, that's why I stepped out of wrestling for a little while too, because my music and my record company, Buddha Head Records, is legitimate, it's official, and it's everything that I want right now. So I'm ready. I'm packaged up. You know what I mean? I'm Prince right now. I'm protecting me everywhere about my music and about my image, everything, and every which way you can imagine. So I'm glad I stepped out the game for a little while. I'm not the monkey in the window for nobody.
A few years ago when Homicide went to TNA and he formed the LAX, were you a fan of what he was doing as far as how he was portrayed early on in that TNA run, or do you think that he would have been better off being a Homicide that you and he presented at Ring of Honor?
Homicide and Julius Smokes, Platinos and collard greens. I mean, basically, why take away the wide receiver? Why take away the quarterback who scored over 40 touchdowns and much more? You know, you don't take that combination away. You make money with that. But I understood the nature of the beast. They looking for a Spanish bilingual group. That's why Conan stepped in. And that's why it was TNA. As I said, they on TV, so certain rules you have to play by. So I felt that he milked it as long as he could. And it was a tremendous experience for him to network and then gain notoriety. 2-time NWA World Champion. TV credits off the roof, and I'm proud of him, man. It's only a period of time you're going to be hot anyway, and he took advantage of it, man. Literally. Let's be real about that, man. Come on.
He did have a good run there. Absolutely did. My final question for you before I pass things back over to Will Huckabee. Were there any talks between yourself and any of the other national promotions besides Ring of Honor?
Look, when I was over in England with the Ring of Honor in 2007, before everybody else got signed to exclusive contracts, it was a buzz in the locker room. Gabe was talking to me in front of the Briscoes, in front of Samoan Joe. Homicide let me know that he got connections to WWE, and everything else, man. So that's why I thought I was going. And then all of a sudden we got back to the States, couple of shows in, and the next year, Gabe is out and my dreams are gone. So I just never really pursued the WWE in no type of way, but opportunity is still there, but in a different light, though. You know what I mean? All my boys are there. You saw the Ring of Honor guys basically has established themselves as the premier wrestlers of the world right now. They took over, and well-deserving. I ain't gonna say no more about that. Well-deserving, though. It's my time, though. I want to eat. Buddha Head Records, baby. Let's get it. BUDDAHHEADZ.com. You know what I'm saying? Let's go get it. Trauma Squad. Let's go.
Well, at this point, I'm going to pass things back over to Will Huckabee. So, Huck, take her back.
Yo, love and blessings, baby. Bless up. Thank you.
What's up, man? So, look, so Julius, first of all, I gotta ask, man. Obviously, you're from Brooklyn and stuff, but I gotta ask because I've seen the movie. So, you call yourself the double son-in-law. Did you steal that from P.D. Wheatstraw? So, for those of us that watched that movie, was that inspired by the movie P.D. Wheatstraw?
Oh, P.D. Wheatstraw, the double son-in-law? Okay. No, I ain't gonna say I stole it from him or whatnot, anything like that, but I got my own signature to it. That's what they call me, the hood, the double son-in-law. So I guess they saw the movie and let me know who I was all about. You know what I'm saying? But it's good.
That's one of my favorite movies from the 70s, man.
Yeah, definitely, yo. I love Scream, Blackula Scream. I'm a big Blackula fan. Black exploitation movies in the 70s are underrated, my dude. They really are, man. There was some good movies back then.
Now, I want to get back to what you said earlier and stuff, man. When you say you didn't want to make it about race, but it is what it is. And as a black wrestler, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Because you'll see a lot of times, you know, especially with black wrestlers, with companies that are on a bigger national level.
You gotta work on eggshells in the back, in the locker rooms. I have to cut you off, man. But being black wrestlers, like, we gotta act in a total different way that has nothing to do with sports. I'm not a corporal guy. I could give you a high five and give you a certain sports shake. You should know what that's all about. I don't like this new generation because y'all didn't really play high school sports. You didn't play football, basketball in college. So you don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what y'all are these days. Well, I'm going in right now. I'm being real with you. I'm going in. What up? Who don't like it, it is what it is, yo. You ain't a real athlete to me.
And I like when you come. I was an amateur wrestler since middle school. I ran track and stuff in middle school and high school.
See, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. These guys today, they can't tell you anything they did in high school, man. They didn't do nothing, man. But they want to be big-time pro wrestlers. Get out of here, yo. Dr. Del Steve Williams, Tully Blanchard, all those guys went to college. They played football, basketball, that. You should know what this handshake's about.
Exactly. Now, well, my question
look at me like I'm a weirdo. Let's go.
No. My question is this, because you're coming from Brooklyn and stuff, man. And for people that know about Brooklyn, y'all are always 100% with everything that you do. With you, you know what I'm saying, the Julius Smokes is not, obviously, it's not a character. You know what I'm saying? That's you 100%. That's where you come from. That's who you are. That's what you represent. When you see certain gimmicks, things like Crime Time, or we'll say even John Cena with the whole Thugonomics. Do you feel that's insulting? Especially nowadays, you know, with a couple of days ago, Jesse Williams just made his speech at the BET Awards, to all people appropriating the culture and stuff. When you see gimmicks like that, do you feel that that's what they're doing? That they're trying to make money off of what you live and what you see every day?
To a certain degree, you know, this is a thin line between love and hate, but at the same time, they also going to impersonate the people who they grew up analyzing. They grew up analyzing our rappers in the 90s, the Tupac, the Biggies, and the Wu-Tang. The list goes on. I mean, you had the white groups back then, the Beastie Boys, the House of Pain, Cypress Hill. You know what I'm saying? And the hood is advertised to a point where the wrestlers in the background that are Caucasian, they know more to the raps than I do. CM Punk and Colt Cabana know more rap lyrics than probably I do, word from some of these rappers. I'm being honest. I'm just going to it is what it is. They do more than their rock stars. Where's the rock groups at? They don't really promote that. You know, the only people that said rap was crap was the Barry Windows and them, because they came from the 70s, the 60s, the 80s. That wasn't really with that rap. So that's why they played that gimmick so well. Rap was crap, because they really meant it.
Now, in 2002, like, you know, in 2002, I was in the military. In 2002, you made your debut and stuff at ROH. Of course, I was in the military and I was overseas and everything. But even then, with wrestling, you know, they had the ECW era where, you know, Paul Heyman really started pushing, you know, culture, or not so much culture, but current events. And they had the grunge and they had the hip hop and stuff with the Pit Bulls. But nowadays, you know, the culture, the hip hop culture is everywhere. Do you think Julius Smokes in 2016 would have been way more over than the Julius Smokes in 2002, 2003.
Man, I got more material to work with right now, man. And plus, as I said, I incorporated myself in a lot of different ways. I'm not perpetrating the fraud or faking it till I make it. As I said, I have a legitimate record company. I have royalties that cover me in different ways that wrestlers cannot imagine when it comes down to the getting this money. I mean, people ain't selling CDs no more. It's just like they ain't selling DVDs. They're selling stuff over YouTube, and it's a lot of royalties that come behind that when you are a musician and artist like I am. So I'm eating off a different plate right now than everybody else is, unless you are a musician or you an actor, and that's the kind of status I'm at right now. So as I said before,
but my question is, the Julius of 2000, the Julius Smokes of 2003. If he was in ROH, or if he was in wrestling right now, 15 years ago, do you think that you would be more successful as that Julius Smokes now than the
Okay. I misunderstood. Yeah, I'm always going to stay relevant. Whatever they need is what I bring. So it is what it is. I mean, my street machismo comes from the streets all the way. My language, my lingo, my style. So yeah, I'll be relevant today as it is back in the days. It won't be no different.
Now, I want to switch gears for a minute because now, you're a manager. You're still in wrestling. You're still doing things in wrestling. You're still part of the business. You're a manager at Valkyrie, over there at Valkyrie and stuff.
Jesse Brooks.
Which I'm a huge women's wrestling. And, of course, WWE has this whole women's wrestling revolution. In my opinion, it's never went away. But what is your opinion on women's wrestling now and how good it has become within the last 5-10 years?
They established themselves as being professional wrestlers instead of being divas, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? That's a respectability from the fans. Basically wanted to see them have a stronger storylines instead of exploiting their beauty and all that different stuff. Exploit the fact that these girls are in the ring wrestling just as stiff as the guys are. And that's what I see now. And I think, again, the respect is definitely needed. Now Jesse Brooks with that Joe Frazier left hook, you know what I'm saying, is going to do what she does best in the future with them. So I see good things happening.
Why manage women's wrestling? Why choose to manage women's wrestling now?
Say it again?
I said, why choose? Obviously a man with your pedigree and your experience can go basically anywhere and manage, young talent and stuff. Why women's wrestling? Why did you specifically choose to start managing women's wrestlers?
I thought it was a different opportunity to network my brand and reach out to the masses of fans that love female wrestling in general. That was waiting for them to have their own promotion. I just wanted to be a part of it. I just wanted to be the first. And I love females in tights, and that's what Valkyrie's all about. And I like the smell of the locker room better too.
Oh my goodness, I was thinking that, like, I'm pretty sure the locker room smells so much better, man.
I love females in spandex, man. Oh my God. Come on, fans, you gotta come out and see that, man. It's almost like the only thing this man, he messed up on with the XFL, it should have been the female football, the FFL, what we want to call it. It should have been the female National Football League. Instead of that crap that he put out. It should have been all females. A big booty linebacker coming across the middle, hitting a sweet, hitting that pretty ass quarterback. Oh, with blonde hair. Oh man, it's nothing like it. Trust me, women football is out right now. They're about to take it to the next level.
But say Debbie Nicole, he's a female wrestler out of Atlanta, Georgia. She also plays female football and stuff. She plays female stuff, man, and she's very attractive.
Okay.
But it's just weird, seeing her in the locker room and then knowing at any time she can, because she's a linebacker and stuff, just knowing at any time she can knock you out if she really wanted to.
Plus another thing, I have a lot of respect for females because females, my sister, I looked up to her when I was younger. She was a state champion in Virginia for 3 years playing basketball. never lost a game for 3 years in Virginia. So I followed that basketball team. So that made me want to get into sports more than ever. It was through females, not guys, females.
Now, let me ask you
Who the world? Girls.
Now, I'm going to ask you, of course, let me ask you this. As far as young female talent and stuff, man, who are some of the females besides Jessie that you really follow and that you think really has what it takes to make it in this business?
I really don't have anybody off the top of the name but Jessie Brooks, because I'm all about Jessie Brooks right now and smashing all the competition that come my way. So we see a lot of upcoming talent, which is the Valkyrie heavyweight champion right now. And we're looking for that championship. So we have the eye of the tiger on that one. Nobody else right now.
So do you still keep up with indie wrestling and stuff?
Honest with you, like if you talking about the WWE, like the black guys on TV right now, like the what's their name? They do some type of gimmick. I haven't watched none of their stuff. I don't watch no wrestling like that. I really don't. I haven't watched WWE since like 2011. I don't know what's going on. I see the feeds over Facebook and stuff like that, but I don't watch it.
So right now you're basically feeling like music and everything, correct?
Well, it makes me come in. Well, if I come in there, I'm not a mark. I'm coming in there as a natural athlete and ready to go. You know what I mean? So God bless everybody that's doing their thing. I see your news feeds. I like it here and there, but I really don't watch. I am the movie. Why have to watch that?
See, now I was going to say, because like I said, I live in the South and stuff, and we have Queens of the Ring, which is a small women's federation, not as big as Sean or Shimmer or WSU.
Okay.
But a lot of huh?
No, listen, I said, oh, okay.
But there's a lot of great talent there and stuff. There's a lot of the ladies and stuff that wrestle down here who has made their way to Valkyrie and up there in New York and the Philly, Jersey, tri-state area. Ladies, Ronnie Nicole, who's about to finish up her tour in Japan. Jesus, I just had her name. Tessa Blanchard, Tessa Blanchard and Casey Carlisle.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. You know Casey Carlisle.
Oh yeah, that's Valkyrie heavyweight champion right there.
Yeah, I say, like, I just seen her this Sunday and stuff, man, or this Saturday. But I was wondering, are you going to start branching out? If the phone call, somebody called you and stuff, would you be willing to go work for other women's federations and stuff?
I'm saying right now, would I be available to work for any other wrestling federations?
Yes.
Yeah, my bookings is open. Definitely. If it's respectable and they go in the right direction towards being a professional wrestling company, I'm interested. No backyard. We don't do those.
They say no backyard wrestling. I've never heard of a female backyard wrestling company.
You have a couple of people acting like they're official companies, but they're not. So when I Google it and look for the authenticity, I can't find it. That means your backyard. It's like I'm telling you, I have Buddha Head Records, right? So when you Google it, if you don't see anything from the state, borough, or any connection like that, that's not real. You know what I'm saying? I'm just running my mouth. So when I'm telling you I got Buddha Head Records, just Google it, and you'll see that I have my state ID and everything for my company.
Now, a lot of people don't realize, of course, I always got to do my research and everything. But you are actually a really good wrestler. I watched a couple of matches and stuff.
Wow.
Huh?
Thank you. I said thank you.
I watched a couple of matches at BWF and stuff, and of course, it's still, you keep it 100, man, with the Timbs and the baggy jeans and stuff, man. But you put on a really good show. What is your philosophy when it comes to putting together a match, when it comes to being a part of the show and stuff? What's your philosophy on that?
What, just being part of a show in general?
Yes.
I don't look, you have to naturally know how to get in the ring and wrestle. I don't like wrestling against robots. You know what I'm saying? And I'm old school. Let's get in there, face, heel, get that crowd going in every which direction, and take it home. That's what it's all about. Let's go out there and entertain those fans. And plus, I'm an athlete. And you're going to feel my chops. You're going to feel my drop kick. You're going to feel my headbutts. You're going to feel my passion that I have for this sport. And that's the difference that you see with other people out there that's doing 85 moves in one match. You don't feel the passion in their match. You know, you feel it when you see Low Key. You feel it when you see Homicide. You feel it when you see Monster Mac. You know what I'm saying? You feel it when you see Dan Moff. You feel it when you see EC Negro, the Dirty Route Scoundrels. You know, the list goes on, man. The Doghouse, 940 Jamaica Avenue, TOT. You feel it when you see, you know what I'm saying, Slugger, Grim Reaper, and also Miss Jessie Brooks. Watch out for the left hook. Let's go, baby.
I'm gonna say, man, you just made the list of people that you just named off are notoriously known for being what I like to call very realistic in the ring. That everything they do not only does it make sense, but it looks like if I was in a bar, these are the guys I don't want to mess with.
Thank you. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, somebody asked me about the Young Bucks, and I said I liked them, but I said if I was out in the street, they was walking down my block, they might get beat up. That's the way they look. They don't look intimidating. It was like, well, it ain't all about that. So I said, nah, well, I grew up in an era where you don't really look intimidating and stuff like that. You really got to have some skill to take. I don't know. Just how I came up. The War Warriors, you know, coming to the ages. I don't know. The Russians, Nikita Koloff, Ivan Koloff, just the muscles of the Midway. I know it's a different style of wrestling, but I ain't throwing no shade, but it is what it is, man.
So is it safe to say that you're not a fan of the kick pad and kick crowd and type of wrestling?
Say it again?
I said, is it safe to say that you're not a big fan of the guys who wear kick pads and do 100 kicks in a match?
If it don't make any sense, you gonna kick a guy that many times and do stuff like that, shouldn't he be hurt? I mean, put it like this. I blame one of the guys who's not selling it correctly. You're supposed to sell it, quote unquote. I don't like to talk off of kayfabe, but people know what wrestling is all about now, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is selling. I don't know. Well, you tougher than the guys that was back then that played collegiate football, that sold those moves. That mean that you're a better athlete now? I don't see that. My eyes are telling me something different. That's all.
See, I wanted to ask you what you thought about the Ricochet and Will Ospreay match at the New Japan Super Junior tournament. But you already said you don't watch. You already said you don't watch a lot of it and stuff.
No, but it was like the Bullet Club, and I don't even know what that's about. Really, I don't watch it. I just know that AJ Styles is in it, and I like the picture that he's in it because he's a Ring of Honor alumni, but I haven't watched no film on it at all. Amazing, right?
Yeah, well, no, to each his or her own. To each his or her own. Like I said, you know, you're from Brooklyn, man, and I just made a trek to Brooklyn a couple of months ago, man. Was over there at the House of Glory Wrestling, and yeah, that block that the House of Glory is at, man, is no joke. Like, if you're not from that neighborhood, you know, people are looking at you kind of sideways, trying to figure out what your business is. So in my case, it helped the fact that I'm 270 pounds. You know, people kind of left me alone, but I can see if the young bucks walk through Brooklyn or Queens or whatever, you know, they might get mugged.
I like the House of Glory. That's another Brian Excel's another extension of the Doghouse, SAT. You know, they split off and they doing their thing with FSW, which is ran by Jarrell from the SAT, and Brian Excel runs the Hog and with Red, with Amazing Red. And New York wrestling is where you want to be at right now, man. Come on, man. Yo, you come to New York City, it's 20 your dogs. I count, we don't shut down. After the wrestling show, we go to the after party. We popping bottles. We getting females. We're partying all night until 7 o'clock in the morning. Where you gonna do that at? I can't go to North Carolina. I can't go to Kentucky and do that, can I?
No, I don't think you can go to Kentucky and do that. I definitely don't think you can do that in Kentucky. You might be able to do that in Atlanta, but definitely not North Carolina.
No, well, Atlanta ain't got nothing on New York, man. New York's a rotten apple, man. I got after hour spots up here. It's like Harlem Nights. You ever seen Harlem Nights?
Of course I've seen Harlem Nights.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to take you to something like that that's going to blow you off the roof, and you pick what you want. I am the double son-in-law to your smokes, baby. Rock Wallace, baby. Who the heck record? Come get it, man. We here.
Last question before I get to ask your social media and all of your information and stuff for our fans. Of course, me myself personally, I'm always on social media, always trying to connect with people. And there's about to be a resurgence for the UWF. For the people who don't know, that's the Urban Wrestling Federation.
Yes, we're on cable right now. Bloody Bullet. Catch me on cable, baby. And Play the Man, whatever you want to call it, is on your cable box. Go get it.
Exactly. I was going to say, when they start running shows again, are we possibly going to see Julius Smokes, Homicide, Low Key, the Mac, and everybody make an appearance there?
I'm not sold on Low Key because Low Key controls his own entity. He's a private contractor personified, literally, when it comes down to this business. But when it comes down, Homicide too, so I'm not sure, but you're definitely going to see us probably in other different places. I am the Urban Wrestling Federation. I represent that. Julius Smokes, Buddha Head Records, baby. Grim Reaper, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we doing right now. And, hey, it's going to be a lot of good things going on during the summertime. Trust me. Let's catch the Bloody Bullet pay-per-view right now. It's crazy.
The reason why I'm asking is because
Homicide going against Eddie Kingston. Tremendous match, man.
The reason why I asked about the UWF is because my homeboy, somebody I consider a mentor of mine, Murder One, has already been announced to making his return to the UWF. Yeah.
That's my cousin.
That's your cousin?
That's my second cousin, yeah, from down south. Definitely. Stop playing, man. That's my second cousin, man.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we got a connection here. We got a connection here on the Undisputed Wrestling Show.
Wow. Yo, we just recently found out that we was family like a year and a half ago after the Urban Wrestling Federation. After he was up here, we didn't even know we was family, man. But my sister saw us on Facebook talking, connect the dots. We family. I'm like, wow, we family. What the hell? This is Blase cousin. I'm like, wow, that's our aunt. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, he's family, man.
Look, guys,
he loves wrestling.
As soon as they announced, Murder One, as soon as y'all announced Murder One was going to be the UWF, I immediately called and was like, yo, big homie, you got to put me and my boy on. Like, this is a place for us to be at. You know what I'm saying? Originally, I was saying my dad's from Chicago, and then my tag partner's from Greensboro. He lived in the same block as New Jack. So I'm super excited. When I first saw UWF, I was super excited because I was like,
this is gangsters right there, yo. I have nothing but respect for Chicago. When I went there with CM Punk, showed me nothing but a lot of love there. Gave us the key to the city. Nobody better not talk shit about CM Punk than me because he blessed me in Homicide and treated us like we was his brothers when we was out there, man. He really did, man. And I love Chicago. I ain't got no more love for Chicago. I cannot wait to go back there. Chicago showed me a lot of love.
So, hey, man, I'm expecting big things from the UWF. Like I said, the first go round, man, I was so impressed because I was like, this is wrestling that speaks to guys like me. Like, I'm from the projects. I listen to hip hop. Like, I know all the rappers, like all the wrestlers.
This is the African American version of Lucha Libre. Lucha Underground, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? This is the Soul Train version of Lucha Underground. And we're giving it to you from the East Coast swing of things. You know what I'm saying? And respect that essays out there. Ricky Reyes, you know what I'm saying, which is a Rockwaller, World Tag Team Champion from the Ring of Honor. He's doing his thing out there on both promotions, Lucha Underground and the Urban Wrestling Federation. Is that incredible?
Oh, yeah. So let's go ahead and get an exclusive right now. I got to ask you exclusive. What's the date for the first show, man?
First show what? On this show right here?
Yes. When's the date, man? I gotta find out. When's the next show? What's the date?
Wow. The next show is coming up for BCW is going to be at the Elks Lounge on the 29th of July. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna do a die and slice and dice up once again, Rockwaller style. It catches on Bloody Bullet, Urban Wrestling Federation on pay-per-view, and I'm Buddha Head Records. You can get my album on YouTube. On Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Julius Smokes is viral. I'm everywhere. Julius Smokes. Just Google me.
So when's the next UWF pay-per-view?
You went in and out. I couldn't hear you.
I said, when's the next UWF pay-per-view?
Oh, it's right now. That's what I'm talking about. Urban Wrestling Federation is right now on Bloody Bullet on pay-per-view. It's going to be all summer. It's on Play on Demand. It's on your demand channels. So let's go to your local cable network and flip through the channels and check it out. It's definitely there. It's on the schedule. It's everywhere, worldwide.
Word. Well, look, hey, Julius, once again, thank you for being on the show, man. If you want, please go ahead and give all of our listeners and fans your social media so they can keep up with not only you, but the record company, the wrestling promotions, and, you know what I'm saying, everything you're doing over there at Valkyrie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Valkyrie is where you want to be at. We love women in tights. You know what I'm saying? Jesse Broach got that Joe Frazier left hook. You know what I'm saying? Casey Tyler, play that funky music, white girl. We coming for the title. You best believe that. Resurrection Federation, Bloody Bullet, pay-per-view, play on demand, baby. We are here right now. And Who the Hell Records? You can't beat us. Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'm viral. Check me out. Julius Smokes. Let's do it. Lotto the Don. Oh, no, hold on. Oh, my God. Video. Hold on. I got a new video. It's out right now. Lotto the Don. Concrete Jungle Remix. Burns Luciano. Go to YouTube. We got over 25,000 hits right now. Views. Continue to build it all till we hit that million. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Concrete Jungle Remix. Go check it out, baby. It's the best right now. Best video in the world.
Well, Julius, thank you for being a guest on our show, man. Well, hopefully we can get you back here at the end of the summer and stuff so we can talk about everything that went on this summer with not only you, but UWF and everything else. How's that sound?
One star. Definitely thank you, man. Old Concrete Jungle. Catch it on YouTube. Concrete Jungle Remix. Concrete Jungle Remix.
That's right, man. Thank you once again, man. Like I said, next time Murder says he's going to make a trip up to New York, man, I'm definitely going to make a way up there so we can chop it up, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
One blood.
Sign guy.
Hawk.
What do you think, man? Julius Smokes. What do you think, bro?
Definitely a passionate individual.
Good, man. I can't believe that we have so many mutual friends in common and stuff. I was completely shocked. I did not know from all my research that him and a friend of mine, Murder One and stuff, were actually related. So once we get out this show's over, I'm definitely gonna make a couple of phone calls.
Well, it proves my theory that I've said time and time again. The wrestling world is a very, very small place.
Yes. Now, before we got him on the line and stuff, you were telling us everything that you had going on this past weekend. Did we forget anything?
I think we covered it, but I will point out I was victorious in my match against DeMarcus James at the Dash Venture Lila Lodge wedding/wrestling event.
Well, awesome. I had a really crazy, interesting weekend, actually, if you could believe that, Sign Guy and Killer Kev. Did any of you watch the Best in the World pay-per-view?
Yes.
Did y'all happen to see somebody look familiar during the pay-per-view?
I saw a guy I road trip with.
Huh?
Yeah, I saw Kevin Sullivan sitting there with the golden spike in his hand.
That's all you saw?
Well, no, I saw the whole show. I also saw a Huck-looking individual sitting in the crowd.
You saw what?
I saw a William Huckabee-looking individual sitting in the crowd.
No, it definitely was not in the crowd, man. Friday night actually was happening. I did a lot. I was actually on the pay-per-view. I actually went to go help out and stuff. You know, Steve Corino had his match with BJ Whitmer, and I trained with Steve Corino, and I worked from a lot and everything. So they needed some extra talent for the show, and so he asked me and my buddy Joe Black if we were interested in going up there and doing a couple of spots and helping out for the pay-per-view, and so we agreed. And I actually, if you go back and watch, I actually had a lot of FaceTime for that pay-per-view.
I will go back and watch it. I saw a guy I thought might have been you sitting in the crowd, though. Could have been a guy with a Huckabee t-shirt.
No, that's cool. There was actually a lot of people wearing Incredible Hulk t-shirts at the pay-per-view, which was amazing. But no, so if you watch the pay-per-view, and I'm giving you a chance to put myself over, during the ACH and Silas Young match, I was ringside security for that. And I don't care if we were at break kayfabe right now, but they wanted to make sure, because, you know, Silas Young has 2 knee braces and everything, so they wanted to make sure that there was somebody there to catch ACH for his dives with Silas Young, And so they asked me if I had a problem catching ACH and helping out with a dive. So when ACH is diving and stuff, there's a buddy of me and a buddy of mine, Boss Hog, who's a very young talent here in North Carolina and stuff. We were actually there for the security guards for that match. What else did I do? Oh, I was a part of the entrance with Steve Corino, holding up a chair. I don't know, did you see that part, fine guy?
Yeah.
Yes, I was a part of that. And then the whole Caprice Coleman, and All Night Express, their promo and stuff. I was one of their security guards, one of their Secret Service guys. And then the highlight of my day was that I got to actually carry Taylor Hendricks out of the building during the main event. So I was actually pretty happy with that. So I got a lot of FaceTime. I mean, a lot of FaceTime. Never mind the fact that if you watch Dalton Castle's intro, my tag team partner, Joe Black, was one of the boys, which was hilarious.
Now, I got to ask you this.
Okay.
Are you a permanent member of the cabinet?
We would say semi-permanent. Whenever they are in the area, they would like for me to be there. They were very impressed with not only because I of course, like you said, wrestling's such a small world. So a lot of the gentlemen that work for Ring of Honor, we already know and stuff, and work at other indie shows. And so Caprice Coleman's from North Carolina and stuff, and he actually lives like maybe an hour and a half away from me. So he knows me and stuff. So whenever they're in the area within, reasonable driving distance, they would like for me to be a part of the cabinet. But it was really cool, like I said, being backstage, helping out with everything. Meeting Kevin Sullivan for the first time. Once again, talking to Brutal Bob and Delirious and meeting up with old friends of mine, or friends of mine, I won't say old friends, but meeting up with friends of mine and stuff that I know through wrestling. It was really cool. It was a very long day. We got there at like 9:30 to help start setting up. The pay-per-view wasn't over until 11. We didn't get out there until almost 12. And then I had to go to the hotel. So it was a very long Friday for me. And then Saturday, I was in Buchanan, Georgia, for UIW. Me and my tag team partner, Joe Black, actually took on Murder One, Julius Smokes' cousin, and a very young, good talent in Georgia called Adrian Armour in a tag team match. Very, very good match. Small crowd, but very loud crowd. So really good time, man. That was my weekend.
Sounds like it was pretty action-packed.
Friday was very action-packed. It's so funny that, Kevin Sullivan gets into the building and we'd already been there since like 9 o'clock. And I think by the time Kevin Sullivan got there, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I was starving. Ready to go get something to eat, ready to break for lunch. And Kevin Sullivan comes in, he's walking in with Kevin Kelly and a couple of the other backstage guys and stuff. And he immediately looks at me, he's like, Jesus, you're a big kid. Who the hell's working you? And I was like, I'm just here, for backstage help. He's like, oh, well, hey, kid. He's like, hey, you about to go get lunch? Yes, sir. Stop and get me a coffee. Okay, no problem. Like, all right. So I had to go get Kevin Sullivan coffee and stuff. So if you ever need tips on what to bring Kevin Sullivan's coffee, let me know. I'll tell you.
All right. Now, you've not brought me a coffee before. I'm a little bit hurt.
So what do we want to talk about as far as wrestling this week? I mean, I think for me the biggest thing that happened with wrestling was the WWE Global Cruiserweight Championship introductions. What do you think, Sign Guy?
I heard there were a little bit of glitches going on when they went to tape that thing. Hopefully all the glitches are out of the way, because I think that's going to be something that is going to be very unique. I don't know if it'll be something that the casual fan will get into necessarily, but I think fans that are hardcore fans and fans that are into the style of the cruiserweights are going to absolutely love this thing. Hopefully it will do very well numbers-wise, and this will be the first of a lot of tournaments like this that they put on there, using outside talent and bringing in guys that are not WWE guys to take part in a WWE network exclusive event. I think it's going to be very, very good for the industry if the numbers work out.
So what do you think about a lot of the talent? I got to ask you, what do you think about the talent that's participating in this?
Tons and tons and tons of great talent. I mean, there's just guys from not only WWE, but guys from Dragon Gate and guys from Europe, all over the map coming in that are just tremendously talented that hopefully will make an impression. And if they don't end up in WWE from this, hopefully it will up their value to other promotions and they'll be able to make themselves more valuable, make themselves a little more money, and draw new fans when they go back to their home promotion. So I think it's going to be good for the industry as a whole. There's just so much great talent in there. Guys like Tozawa and Rich Swann. Just tons of great talent.
Now, I was going to say that the 32 contestants for the CWC, there's only, 3 former WWE guys, and then only one gentleman, Richie Swann, who's actually in WWE developmental. The 3 guys who are former WWE talents being Tajiri, I want to call him Stanky, but that's not his actual name now. What's his name?
Kendrick.
Yeah, Brian Kendrick, and then Davari. But then everybody else is what you would call, I guess, quote-unquote, indie darlings. I think for me, the most exciting person I want to see is Kota Ibushi. Jesus, he's such an amazing talent from New Japan and stuff. I'm really excited to see what they're going to allow him to do. Guys like him and Cedric Alexander and Drew Gulak and Tommaso Ciampa and Drew Gargano have both been on NXT before. But I'm really excited to see what they're going to allow these guys to do.
I think, hopefully, this will be something that will have enough numbers behind it, enough success, that they'll start branching out. We might get other types of tournaments, maybe a tag team tournament, maybe a women's tournament where they bring in outside talent, helps the company kind of scout people on their home court, so to speak, see what people they want to pursue later on for contracts possibly, helps the fans get familiar with people working at independents so the independent companies benefit. I think it's a pretty daring thing. You never, even 5-10 years ago, would have had the WWE bringing in outside talent like this for something that is a WWE project at this scale, at this magnitude. This is something that really unheard of for WWE to attempt, and hopefully it'll be a success for them.
Now, let me ask you 2 questions, Son Guy. And you, Kev, if you really want to pitch it, because I know Kev is in the background listening. Is there any talent on the Indies that you think that they overlooked or they should have had in the tournament? And do you think that this tournament is saying something about the state of the business right now?
I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of independent guys that could have excelled in this tournament that just didn't have the connections, didn't get into this year's Cruiserweight tournament. There's a handful of people from up in this area that I think would excel in it, but they just don't have the right connections. They don't know the right people to be able to get into something like this. And as for the state of the business doing this tournament, I think it will definitely help independent wrestling. I think it will help the smaller national companies like your Dragon Gate and Evolves. I think it will help companies like Ring of Honor, because when they bring in guys after the tournament's over and they already have that recognition from WWE, and those fans will try to follow and try to watch the people that catch their eye in this tournament, I think it's going to elevate the industry as a whole.
Kev, you got an opinion on the group Global Cruiserweight Championship Series?
I think Tommaso's going to take it.
You think Tommaso's going to take it when they got guys like Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr., who's probably like one of the hottest commodities in indie wrestling right now?
If Tommaso Ciampa doesn't win this and WWE doesn't sign him full time, Triple H is a fool.
Why do you say that for? I got to ask you why, Kev. I've seen Tommaso Ciampa live. and probably one of the most amazing matches ever. So I want to ask your opinion. Why do you think Tommaso is going to take it all?
Come on, Tommaso has been in and out of NXT and not officially with developmental, but they've signed him. They've been using him for the last couple of years. It is time to pull the trigger on this. It is time to get him to the altar. It's time to make this match happen. You know, come on. It's time to make Tommaso Ciampa a WWE guy. He's earned it. And he's worth it. He is one of the best talents they don't have signed full time.
I am more amazed at the fact because the weight limit for this tournament was 205. Everybody had to be under 205. And I'm amazed that he was able to cut so much weight and still still keep his strength, with losing what would probably amount to like 25, 30 pounds of muscle.
What do you weigh at? He weighed at what? 199?
Yes, he weighed in at 199. So like the last time I saw him and, the first time I saw him, he was at 230. And that was about 4 months ago. It was like in February, March. He was like 230. And for him to get under 199, him and guys like Cedric Alexander, who has been wrestling for the last 4 or 5 years, they're like 225, 230. These guys all had to get under 205 to participate in this.
I don't know. How legit is that, though?
It's legit because Cedric Alexander weighs 189 now.
I don't know. It would not surprise me if WWE fudged some of those numbers because I've seen a couple of those guys. Not any that I really recognized. They had them weighing in at like 200, 205, and I'm like, nah, I think there was about 10 or 15 more pounds on them.
So, Cam, since I got you the line and stuff, what do you think this says about, the fact that they're bringing in outside talent from New Japan, talent from Dragon Gate? Cedric Alexander was working for ROH, guys who work for Evolve and stuff, and, Zack Sabre Jr. is from England. What is that saying about the state of this business and the direction that WWE is going, bringing in these guys, like, for what Sangai said, a WWE pushed and promoted event?
I'll say this, and I've said it before. A lot of people don't like how Triple H has done business for himself and the deals that he made to get ahead in the business. But don't let that cloud your judgment. Triple H is a brain in this game. He takes on the name the Cerebral Assassin. When it comes to the business side of pro wrestling, there is probably nobody that's sharper than Triple H. And he got to learn from the best legitimately, anywhere he's gone. Look at all the people that he's been able to surround him with over the last 20, 25 years of his career. Not only Vince McMahon, but, he got to hang with Dusty Rhodes, J.J. Dillon, it's just overloaded how many people he's rubbed shoulders with. You don't even know how many conversations he has sat down with and probably just listened to everything that every booker and wrestling owner has ever said in their life, and listened to every veteran go out there and tell stories to be able to learn how to be a master manipulator in the pro wrestling business. And the way he is putting together everything now is traditional old school. It is nothing short of a throwback to what was the best in professional wrestling's golden age, the silver age, the second silver age. Any big movement, Triple H is going to tap into that and learn how to make that work for WWE.
I think I've said before when I said that Triple H is definitely out indie wrestling right now. We saw with NXT how he was bringing in guys who had so much experience, getting themselves over, worldwide and signing these guys. And now I think that we're seeing that also with the whole cruiserweight thing. And like Sangai said, I would like to see, the next incantation of this global tournament take on be tag teams. They go out, they actually scour the globe for some of the best tag teams around. And then maybe, they have the whole women's revolution and stuff. They actually go out here and go to like Valkyrie and Shimmer and Queens of the Ring and WSU and get, the best women wrestlers and put all of them in the tournament and just expose, the WWE fans to to actual independent wrestling and let them know that, hey, there's more than just WWE out here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, anything else that was going on this past week in professional wrestling that we need to talk about, guys? I haven't got a chance to see Raw yet, so I have no idea what happened.
I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews on Raw myself. The Raw Reaction crew, of course, they liked it. Of course, this week's Raw Reaction, it was Angry Tenzai and Mike Poulin, who you normally hear on the Seth and Mike Impact Implosion, which there's not going to be an episode of tonight. But so we got Mike last night to come on. He liked it as well. But everybody from Thursday Night AMP really felt like WWE just kind of wrote it in. Felt really kind of lazy, not very well booked. So apparently we've got some split opinion going on around here.
Sound guy, did you get a chance to see Raw?
I caught the first half of it. Saw the first half. I thought it was interesting that they pulled the trigger and they addressed the Roman Reigns suspension the minute he was suspended, used that on television. They had not on SmackDown said anything about the suspension, even though it was announced way before they taped it. So between last Tuesday and yesterday, they decided to own up to that on television. There was kind of an interesting way to do it. They were going to change the dynamic of the main event at Battleground, so that actually kind of intrigued me to see what type of match they'd actually go with, because it could have been anything from a singles match to a 5-way match.
Now, see, that's what I was thinking about earlier. I cannot remember the last time they suspended a guy who was legitimately booked on top. I mean, yeah, Randy Orton has been suspended a couple of times, but that was never when he was at the top of the card, in the world title matches and stuff. They never suspended him. They usually with guys who are at the top of the card, they kind of protect those guys. What do you guys think that's saying about, the way they're handling business backstage, that they're willing and they actually did suspend Roman Reigns, right in the middle of his big push and everything?
I think they had to address it. I mean, otherwise it was going to end up being too much of a distraction. And right now, with as low as ratings are, I think it helps them to go ahead and expose some of the backstage stuff and just let fans in on that, because otherwise it's going to hurt their ratings. It's going to hurt their credibility even more if they don't.
They could I think they could have angled out of it somehow if they wanted to and brought Roman Reigns in for the pay-per-view without necessarily having to put it on TV that he got suspended. But it was interesting that they changed their mind. They made it a point on TV to address what was really going on with him. There have been times when guys got suspended that were on top. I remember when they first were going through the current wellness policy, a bunch of guys got suspended, and it affected the pay-per-view and the televisions leading up to it, to the point they had to stagger the suspensions to be able to go through with the pay-per-view. So it's not completely unprecedented, but like you said, Huck, it's kind of rare that one of the guys on top, the bigger name, gets suspended like that, and someone that's not really catching on with the fans like they want, like Roman Reigns. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back how they will decide to use that. I don't know if they'll change directions with Roman Reigns or if they'll try to garner sympathy with the fans based on the suspension. It's going to be interesting when he comes back how they play it.
I think that we've seen, like in previous years, when they had the suspended talent who was getting pushed, like Jack Swagger, he was in the title contention and stuff, and then he ended up getting suspended for outside things, and then what was her name? Emma, is that her name? The female talent, something got suspended or basically actually fired for selling an iPod case. A lot of times with top talent, I think we've seen a history where top talent gets suspended. They never really get that push all over again. It's like the company kind of loses faith in them. Do you think that we're going to see the same thing with Roman Reigns? Do you think they're going to bring him back hotter than ever?
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to find out how they do it. They, as a company, may have mixed feelings on it. On one hand, you bring him back, you try to get him as hot as he was when he left, but the fans really weren't 100% behind him. It's not like a John Cena where he's selling the most merchandise, even though fan reaction is mixed. He's a main event guy, but he's not necessarily the one that the fans gravitate to as the guy. He's not the one that is selling all of the pay-per-views and the tickets necessarily. I think it'll be interesting to see where they see him in their plans. If they scale down the push a bit or if they leave it where it was. I mean, you mentioned Swagger. Rob Van Dam also got in a lot of trouble. Had a arrest for drug-related charges and ended up dropping the title and was really never at the same level again after he came back from it. So it'll be interesting to see where Roman Reigns fits into the plans, if they've even made up their mind internally, because I gotta think they're still debating this thing. They might be debating it for the next 25 days or however long he has left on his suspension.
What do you think, Kev? Do you think they're gonna bring him back hotter than ever? Or do you think he's gonna end up dropping to the middle of the middle of the pile?
I don't think he's going to be hotter than ever, but I can't see him doing to him like they did Rob Van Dam and Jack Swagger. They really can't afford to. They don't have enough top level talent, and they've put too much time and too much energy and too much money into Roman Reigns to let him fail.
Now, they still, in my opinion, they have enough top-level talent. I mean, we saw the reaction that Dean Ambrose got when he cashed in his Money in the Bank the same night that he won it. Of course, they have AJ Styles. They still, Seth Rollins just made his return and stuff, and the fans will always love Sami Zayn. I think they have enough talent to push towards the top. It's just a question, in my opinion, of do they want to push them or not.
Well, you forget, though, we've got 2 shows we got to spread the top talent over now.
Well, they did that during the Attitude Era. They put, The Rock was on SmackDown. They had Triple H and Stone Cold really on Raw. And then they actually, at one point, they had John Cena on SmackDown and put Randy Orton and Edge and stuff. I'm sorry, they put John Cena on Raw and had Edge and Randy Orton on SmackDown. So I think they have enough talent between the main roster, which we don't really get to. And I love the fact they have the brand extension. I think we should talk about that next. That they're doing the whole draft again. They're splitting the brand because they have so much talent on the roster that you don't get to see on a weekly basis. That I think that this is going to be really good between how many guys they have on the roster and how many guys they have in NXT that they can call up. I think that they might have somebody that can plug into that spot where Roman Reigns was at.
Well, let me just say they eventually will, but right now they don't, and because they haven't really developed that, they haven't really gotten the fans tuned in to that the way that they need to keep the WWE engine running. Things are hurting a little bit right now, which is why they're scrambling to try to sign back a bunch of the talent they just let go, because they're gonna have a tough time. It may be 6 to 9 months, in my opinion, before we have both Raw and SmackDown live every week, running on all 4 cylinders the way a WWE wrestling show needs to. So for that reason, I don't think that they're going to push down Roman Reigns. But I think they've seen the writing on the wall at this time. The fans just aren't into him, so there's not any reason to try to keep cramming him down fans' throat, especially now that they have Dean Ambrose as champion. I mean, obviously they are way more into that. So just run with it for right now. And, you don't have to push Roman Reigns down, but you don't have to give him, a big push like you've been giving him for the last year either.
Now they're talking about the brand splitting. SmackDown's about to be live every week like it used to be back during the Attitude Era. My question is, are they going to split the title again? They're going to have the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title? Or is the champion going to be on both shows? What do you guys think about the brand split? What do you think they're going to do with the titles? Do you think they're going to put the U.S. title on one show, the Intercontinental title on one show? Whoever gets the tag title, one show gets the tag title, the other one gets the women's title. What do you think they're going to do? What do they do now with all the titles and stuff?
I think they've already started towards a 2-title deal. I was noticing that they are changing the wording of the champion. It's now the WWE Heavyweight Champion instead of the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And the last time there was a brand split, it was the WWE Champion and the World Heavyweight Champion. So that might have been a little bit of foreshadowing that they're going to start differentiating the 2 titles on the 2 shows. I think you almost have to do that because to truly keep the 2 shows separate, if one world champion was over both shows, it might get a little bit complicated as far as the feuding and everything. Since you'd have 2 pay-per-views, you'd have multiple feuds going pretty much all the time. But I think they have to have 2 main champions. I think that's how they'll end up working it. As for the other titles, it's hard to say because they tried a little of each. The last time there was a brand extension, they tried tag team champions and the women's champion working both shows. They tried multiple championships for each show. It's hard to say how they'll do it to start off. They might have to experiment a little bit to see what best works with the fans in this era as far as the titles.
Now, Kev, I got a question for you, Kev, because you're a wrestling history buff. Brand split, does that mean more pay-per-views or less pay-per-views, or should they keep it about the same?
I think they should keep it as the same, but I've already heard that they are planning to do brand exclusive. Well, they don't call them pay-per-views anymore. They call them, special events. But they're gonna have, network brand exclusive special shows for Raw and SmackDown. So from what I understand, they are gonna split it. And the good thing is, at least with WWE Network, that's easy enough to do. And that's cheap enough to do. Because they don't have to put anywhere near the money or energy in like they used to on pay-per-views. They could pretty much set that up just about in any arena, and the only difference between that and a house show is how much hype and promotion they put into that, and that doesn't cost them a thing.
Do you think it's a smart thing, Kev?
I think it is a smart thing, but that only works because we have WWE Network now. If we were still on the old pay-per-view schedule on cable and satellite, wouldn't work at all because just too much money that people have to pay out. It splits their loyalties between the programming. So if they're going to pay for the Raw pay-per-view this month, that means they're not paying for the SmackDown pay-per-view next month. With WWE Network, everybody's just paying a flat price anyway. So if they only watch one or the other, it doesn't cost WWE any extra money. If they watch them both, then WWE has an opportunity to keep fans engaged in both programs and keep things selling.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I ask our next question, I want to remind you that you are listening to the Undisputed Wrestling Show on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Be sure to go to angrymarkspodcast.com and check out all of our amazing shows, such as Glove Up or Shut Up, Thursday Night AMP, The Raw Review, and, of course, the Undisputed Wrestling Show. Also, you can also follow us on the the Undisputed Wrestling Show.weebly.com. And Sign Guy, I think that our amazingly second-hour guest is on the line. Would you like to speak to him?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome back to the Undisputed Wrestling Show here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network, Rory Fox. Rory, how are you tonight? Welcome back.
Hey, I'm doing great. Glad to be back. While we're plugging things, let's plug at Rory Fox _ for my Twitter. And I also have a Facebook fan page at Rory Fox Wrestling. And I'm looking to come to Indiana, come to Wisconsin, wherever I got to be. Hell, maybe I'll have to show up at one of these shows that Big Drew's at to get booked, huh? Maybe I have to meet my old buddy in the ring. What do you say?
Drew Skills wrestles all over the map. You got a lot of choices to go to follow him.
I just might have to. Us old HWA alumni guys, back in the day, I was HWA champion, and Big Drew was the opening card guy, but now Drew is the man all over the Midwest, and I might have to find out if I still got it.
Well, out in that area in the Midwest, Drew very, very prolific as far as promotions and titles. But can you tell us, for the sake of our listeners, and since Drew isn't here this evening to dispute anything at all.
Oh, man. Really?
When you first met Drew Skills, can you tell us what your impressions were of him, and did you think he would be someone that eventually would be one of the locker room leaders in the independent wrestling scene for the Midwest?
My first impressions of Big Bad Drew was, first of all, right when I saw him, I saw he had size. He had that going for him right away. It was just a matter of using that size and learning how to work. And he came to a great place for that, with Les Thatcher. And then when Les kind of was phased out, Cody Hawk took over. And, the proof's in the pudding there as far as, Cody Hawk is trained. So, I mean, Drew was at a great place to learn. He had a lot of raw talent. But the way he was kind of positioned early on, kind of a comedy, kind of funny thing, I wasn't for sure. But I knew he had potential, but I didn't know how much he had. And when he morphed himself into the monster he's become now, I mean, he's hitting all cylinders, and he's doing a hell of a job right now.
Looking at the landscape of things, have you been able to follow what's going on just in your general area there in the Midwest? Have you seen some of the younger talent that only has been around for the last 2 or 3 years to get a gauge on who some of the people, say 5 to 10 years down the road, will be in the position Drew Skills is right now? Do you have a gauge of who the future might be?
Well, right now in Iowa, he's based out of, I believe, Omaha. A big guy named Nate Red Wing. He's a good size, like 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a power lifter. He was at the most recent WWE tryout camp. He's got a really solid look to him. He's really dominated in the Iowa area and also Omaha area, and he wrestles also in Metro Pro Wrestling in Kansas City. I see big things out of him. I would like to see him venture more into Illinois and Indiana. That'd be a hell of a matchup. Nate Red Wing and Big Drew. These are monsters of the midway. But yeah, definitely. I don't know if you heard about those Regal twins out in Missouri. They're excellent. I mean, I don't know how long they'll be in the scene. I mean, I could see those guys, getting signed because they're very young guys with great physiques, and they're twins with bleach blonde hair. It's just, something WWE would be looking at now, especially with guys under 6 foot now getting all these opportunities. So.
The landscape here in 2016, especially as it relates to WWE, is very different than the landscape when you were getting looked at on their television doing shows like Velocity and Jack and things like that.
Raw and SmackDown, yeah. Tell me about it. I'm really kicking myself. It's like if I was, to be 30 now, you'd be in a great position right now. It was just a completely different landscape. Guys under 6 foot were just there to kind of help out, and every now and then you'd have an undersized guy that would get in, and that would be very special. But usually they wanted, 6. I was part of that Johnny Laurinaitis era, the 6'2", 240. So, but we discussed that. Even he would pretend to be on his cell phone whenever I came around him. But yeah, it was a completely different landscape. But there's so much opportunity now for guys. It's if you can work, if you're athletic, you have a good look, and cut a promo, I mean, you know, you're in the ballgame.
Did you think going into your first WWE tryouts that even though it was a big man's company, like you said, that they gave you a fair assessment whenever they watched you wrestle? Do you think that your tryout was a fair tryout and you always had a chance to land with the company, or do you think that they were always after someone that had a certain size, and not having that size, you were not really considered for a full-time position?
I don't know. The first couple of times I went, I don't know if he really even considered a tryout. I was there, but I definitely had the MTV buzz. But one of the issues with me, though, was I just had such a youthful, babyface look, you know, Midwest look, that'd be perfect to feed to one of those monsters on, you know, Jack or Raw or whatever. There could have been a possibility if I kept going back and getting more opportunities, but I don't know. I don't really know. It's just, and it was tough to say. I never had really anybody like pull me aside and say, hey, you do this well, or you do this well, or this is very bad, or that's bad. It was just, we were just mostly out there doing these little, as many guys as possible get on the apron, and you tag in and tag out, do some spots, and get out of the ring. And then, you know, it was more, Tony Gurria at the time was still there, and he had his marker, and he just comes over to me and, yeah, you don't mind getting beat up, do you? I'm like, no, of course not, sir. So that's how I got to wrestle Haku that time, and some other guys got the dark matches. It's just, I wasn't in a position that night to get a dark match. That wasn't going to happen. I was the right guy they were looking for to wrestle Haku and Jack, you know, Samoan with the big fro and the kid from Watkins, Iowa. So I was perfect fodder for him. And, you know, it was just always, whenever I would go, I just wrestled someone with significant, you know, whether it be a Heidenreich or Umaga, you know, it was just, it was always, you know, something like that. But.
Now, in this particular era of professional wrestling, there's a greater emphasis on athleticism and agility and technical wrestling. You have promotions like Ring of Honor and Dragon Gate, and even to a little bit lesser extent TNA, that focus more on the smaller technical guys. WWE has the Cruiserweight Classic upcoming, and they're bringing a lot of outside talent to fill that tournament.
How great does that look? Have you saw clips of that? I mean, it's almost like it's the NWA 1970s junior heavyweight division with UFC kind of feel to it. Something completely different. And, you know, it just totally has Triple H's fingerprints on it because he's a fan of, 1970s NWA, but with excellent production values. I mean, it's going to be really exciting.
How do you think if you would come into the business, say 5 years ago, rather than when you did, that you would have had perhaps a little bit more success on a national stage because of the promotions and because of stuff like the Cruiserweight Classic?
Oh, absolutely. Because now, you know, if I would have been around 35 then, it's just when I was 35, there wasn't all these opportunities, and it's just like, you know, I'm tired of being broke, and you know, I want more in life. It was great wrestling, but just to be broke all the time, it was just getting old. But yeah, absolutely. Finn Balor, Cesaro, a lot of those guys now are already, mid 30s. Yeah, that's something I could really thrive in now if they would allow you to also have personality. If it was just strictly based on wrestling, I had a really strong personality at HWA. I definitely wasn't as technical as Nigel McGuinness and BJ Whitmer and Matt Stryker there, but if that Cruiserweight tournament also allowed you to show some personality besides just exchanging holds, I definitely had been a good fit in that.
You were well known from the MTV special, of course, but aside from the TV special, what do you think that you brought to the table that allowed you to have a successful career to some extent? What do you think made you stand out enough that they wanted to put you in the ring with Haku on television and keep bringing you back for taping after taping?
Well, if they wanted me to play that babyface role, I could be that, that underdog babyface that always tries his best, but, comes up short. Or just a guy to, really help the heels get some heat. I've been that guy that could just beat on and get some heat like back in the day, but my calling would have been as a heel because I can really antagonize the crowd. I just would have been that undersized guy that somebody the crowd think like I think I can kick his ass, or the women would be like, I can't wait to see him get the crap kicked out of him and just run my mouth and and get it shut like the good guy should always do in the most it would have been a Roddy Piper, Eddie Gilbert kind of Chris Jericho kind of thing going on. That would have been more of my calling card. Definitely not, or maybe tag team wrestling, but or part of a group. But I think as an antagonist, I would have really excelled. And getting the opportunity to be around all those agents and picking Arn Anderson's brain, Mike Rotundo, and now Jamie Noble, Road Dogg. I mean, when Billy Gunn was there too. I mean, there's so many. It's just there's so much opportunity to get better and better, and then to apply all that knowledge and information they give you on the house shows, and it'd been amazing.
Since you did enjoy antagonizing the fans and being in the role of a heel, did you ever have any particular moment, or even multiple moments, where you thought your life was in danger from the fans?
Well, there's one story I'm going to tell. I don't know if my life was in danger there, but this was this was during my 3 years in Texas, and there was a good wrestler out of North Texas. His name was Mike Fox, also Fox. He did TNA spots here and there and did WWE stuff. But Sean Hernandez came up with this, have the Foxes wrestle LAX. And the finish of our match, and the crowd was heavy Latino, the finish of the match was me taking the border toss, and I felt like it kind of got me high in my neck anyway, so it hurt. So I thought, I'm just going to lay here and not get up, and I let LAX do their whole celebration in the ring. I would not move. I mean, the ref kept checking me, you okay? I didn't say a word. I just laid there and sold it. And the fact, we didn't have a stretcher, but I had Mike Fox pick me up, put my arm around his shoulder and help me out of the ring, and I'm selling it like he's just dragging me, just helping me to the back. And the fact that everyone was on their feet cheering the fact that I was knocked unconscious by the border toss, or that I was selling it, and the fact, I got a standing ovation. They were so happy that I took a border toss, and while we were getting carried to the back, I had cups of beer thrown on me, and so that was definitely, I definitely had some heat in Texas. They really loved seeing me, get mine at the end of the match after I talked so much smack. But I did do this show in Delta, Iowa once, where I was wrestling Mr. Destiny in this real hick town, Delta, Iowa. And there was some guy there I was kind of jawing with a little bit, motorcycle guy. I thought he was pretty tough. And me and Mr. Destiny are fighting outside the ring. And my back is turned to this guy. And the guy actually came at me and just grabbed a hold of me while I was fighting Mr. Destiny. Destiny's a big guy that can really handle himself. And he had to actually physically restrain the guy and grab him by his neck and slam him up against the wall and told him to be cool. So, yeah, I had provoked that. That biker was going to jump me. Every now and then, get a drunk biker wanting to beat me. But surprisingly enough, it's some of those overweight women and some of these hick towns, they're the ones, oh my God, they're cussing at me, and they want to seriously slap me as hard as they can. there's been times it's been some of those women I've really gotten some women angry. But yeah, I don't think my life was quite in danger though.
Well, fans, you are listening to the Undisputed Wrestling Show here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Or you mentioned the referee checking on you, taking the border toss.
Yes.
And unfortunately, in our business, a lot of promotions take for granted the roles of referee and manager and ring announcer, auxiliary jobs in professional wrestling. Can you throw out the names of some of the referees and ring announcers that you think are such good quality that they deserve to be booked on as many shows as possible, that maybe don't get the recognition because their particular jobs aren't respected by enough of the promoters?
Oh, we had a great referee in HWA. His name was Joe. He was a trainee, and he ended up becoming a great referee out in that area. I really believe, he turned into an Earl Hebner type referee. I don't think he gets enough due in that area. Sorry, I can't remember his last name right now. I'm sorry, Joe, but Joe, he's a little skinny, balding referee at HWA. You'll see on all the old videos if you ever watch HWA footage. He did a great job. We got a guy in 3XW in Des Moines. We call him Skeletor. Actually, Harley Race gave him that name, so he's called Skeletor. He's a great guy and also can set up a ring like nobody's business, and he definitely, should get booked as many times as possible. Ring announcers, actually, a really great one, and from my Texas days, he actually travels now all over the world. I mean, he's going to China and other places. His name was Jeff Houston in Texas. He was a really great ring announcer, really paid his dues, was always getting ribbed, and, the ribs on the boys now. He was actually the ring announcer on the last broadcast that Jim Ross did on that boxing. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. There's some good referees out there, but right now off the top of my head, I can't think. Some other ones, for example.
Right now in professional wrestling, Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE, and even New Japan all have deals on national television outlets. Granted, Comet TV and Pop TV, not the biggest of networks for TNA and Ring of Honor to appear on, but they're still viable national cable outlets. Do you think that right now, with so many companies on cable television, that it's easier to break into the business now than it was, say, 10 to 15 years ago when you only had WWE as a national company on television?
Absolutely. There's a lot better opportunity now. It's just, in the grand scale of things, the opportunities are everywhere. It's a different world now. Smaller guys now have shots if they're really good wrestlers. And there's plenty of ways to get on TV. There's all these different TV shows. Everything's on YouTube. Really, yeah. If you have a good look to start, you got a good chance of catching on with one of these groups. And if you get to work with these good workers, you're definitely going to get better. Definitely, a lot more places to work. Indies are pretty well off right now, a lot of places. But there's also still some really bad wrestling out there, and there's still quite a few people that should be buying tickets that are on shows. But fortunately, most of them are on TV, so that's good.
Well, we got just a few minutes left with you, so I want to give you time. Why don't you go ahead and say anything that you would like to say to the listeners today? Make sure you plug all of your social medias again, and any upcoming appearances or merchandise or anything you have to mention. Let us all know.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, I did take 4 years off. This is like year 2 of the comeback, but I am serious again. I love wrestling again. I would love to come into Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Missouri area there. It's kind of tough right now. I'm kind of confused on the booking these days. I don't know if the promotions that have Twitter accounts or Facebook accounts are they're the actual ones you contact, or are you talking to a webmaster? I don't know, but any promoters out there listening tonight, I would love to come out in that area, man. I'm going to be a weekend warrior again. I love it. Getting in better shape every day. And I just want to wrestle again, and I definitely have something to offer on your show. So yeah, it's at Rory Fox _, and I also have the Facebook fan page, Rory Fox. For instance, I just wrestled a Natural Pro out of Kansas City 2 weekends ago. I wrestled a wrestler by the name of Mark Sterling, who's the despicable villain down there, and Babyface Rory got a standing ovation in front of 500 people down there. And I got a great education from Bill Eady and Barry Darso at Smash there too, and got to learn all the other little intricate parts of the business, which was just a great trip. But yeah, I'm definitely looking for some July and August bookings. I'm starting to get some bookings for September, October, but I definitely am looking for some July, August. So if you need a good hand that can wrestle as a babyface or a heel and can definitely contribute something to your show, look me up. I'm ready to work, and I'm excited again, and just want to wrestle. And where is Drew tonight?
Drew had some family obligations he had to attend to, so he had to take the week off. At least that's his official word. I think he might be a little bit scared. Maybe not.
I think he might be ducking me because, he's the man of the Midwest now. I want him to use a little bit of that stroke and get Rory Fox's foot in the door at those shows, but then again, he may be worried if I do get my foot in the door there, I might steal some of that thunder he's got, steal some of that heat.
That could be it. He didn't want to take the challenge of Rory Fox and risk one of those championship belts.
That's right. We do the battle of the HWA alumni.
Well, Rory Fox, has been a pleasure, like always, having you on the Undisputed Wrestling Show here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Best of luck to you, and hopefully those promoters will start booking you for July and August. You should be on every single week, I think.
That's right. I'm getting bored in Iowa, Missouri. I want to venture into Illinois and Indiana and Wisconsin and raise some hell. And it's good to be back in the show. No technical difficulties this time, and thank you for having me. And that's Rory Fox. It's at Rory Fox _ on Twitter and Rory Fox Wrestling on Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you very much again for being on. Huck, that was a very, very tremendous show once again. Julius Smokes and Rory Fox. We knocked that out of the park. So fans, don't forget the website updated. You can go to the Undisputed Wrestling Show at Weebly.com. Check us out. Get information for all the upcoming shows. Check out the archives. Also visit the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Find us wherever you get your podcast needs. Hit the subscribe button. Get all the shows downloaded right to your mobile devices. Huck, what have you got coming up this week? I know you're a busy man. What have you got going on?
I'm really not doing anything this weekend. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family this weekend. So I will be spending this weekend not only hosting, 6 out of my 10 brothers and sisters in my house. So add that up. There's a lot of people in my house right now. But also it's the 4th of July weekend. So, of course, I'm just going to relax and spend time with the family and stuff and try to enjoy my 4th of July holiday.
Tremendous. Well, I am going to make the trip down to Portland for NWA Blue Collar Wrestling because when I heard Jason Kincaid was going to be there, I was not going to miss the opportunity to be there. I politicked like nobody's business to make sure I had that match. Only time in my career I've ever politicked to get into someone's match. I took advantage of it. I will not only share the ring with Jason Kincaid, but possibly, just possibly, the jersey of Will Huckabee this Sunday at NWA Blue Collar Wrestling.
Let me tell you something, Sanga. The fact that I think really
my jersey is to Jason Kincaid what Brutal Bob Evans is to seminars and stuff. You know how Brutal Bob has that hangs with Bob, gets better thing?
Yes.
I think that it should be wear Huck's jersey, get booked everywhere.
Well, he hashtags it Huck's Jersey Tour.
I'm really, I think I'm gonna get like a bunch of like football jerseys and just put Huck Jersey Tour on it and just sell those so everybody can be a part of the Huck Jersey World Tour.
I would buy one. Now, did you see where it was at yesterday?
Yes, he had the Mount Rushmore, which is so crazy. Or was that today? It was Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah, it was at Mount Rushmore. I believe it was yesterday he was there. He posted the picture of it, I believe, yesterday.
That is so crazy, man.
Well, you might have to book a trip to South Dakota and try to take it back in South Dakota.
I'm not traveling all the way to South Dakota. I'll just wait until the next time I see him in West Virginia. Like, it's to the point now, son, guy, where I don't even want the jersey back, like, legitly. Hey, Kev, what's going on the Angry Marks podcast this week?
Killer Kev is speechless?
Well, you know, when you compare everybody else to this show, you know, of course he's speechless.
I think maybe he ran out to try to find one of those Huck jerseys.
You think so? I mean, I'm telling you, I'm legitimately going to, like, talk about merchandising that and just, I feel like I have to give Jason Kincaid some of, like, the proceeds or whatever, but, you know, obviously it works. He wore my jersey, and all of a sudden he was in, like, Canada and ROH. Like, he never worked for ROH until he started wearing my jersey. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I mean, you think it will show up on ROH television, though?
It would, you know what? That's a good idea. I think we'll talk to him about wearing my jersey on ROH TV. I think that'd be a t-shirt.
National spotlight.
Wear Huck's jersey, become a top prospect. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of them, did you catch that Women of Honor show?
I watched one match because I like Kelly Klein. I've known her for years. Of course, I knew her when she lived in North Carolina, and then we reconnected at Heroes and Legends like 2 years ago. So I'm a huge fan of Kelly Klein's and stuff, man. So I actually watched her match. I made sure I watched her match, but I didn't get to see nothing else really.
Very, very good show, top to bottom, I thought. I thought they did an excellent job with it. It was great to see Crazy Mary Dobson, who choke slammed me at one point in time, and Thunder Kitty, who I know a little bit. Great to see people like that. Also, I know Kelly Klein worked with her in Kentucky. So it's great seeing people I know get the chance like that, and I think that they knocked it out of the park on the first show. So hopefully that'll be a sign of things to come for them, and they'll continue to make Women of Honor viable.
Like I said, man, I've said once, I'll say it again, I'm a huge fan of women's wrestlers nowadays because it's like wrestling, you know, when back in the 70s and 80s when these ladies are legitimate athletes and stuff, and they're not doing polo fights and TNA fights and mud wrestling and stuff. Like, they are hitting hard, and they're hitting quick, and they're hitting fast, and they're putting together shows. And like I said, to a lot of guys who are listening, who are in the wrestling business, don't be one of those guys that are on a show with these female wrestlers and stuff and have them come out and still do, and take them for granted and think, oh, it's the women's match, you know, we can kind of whatever, we kind of lay it off, it's no big deal. Like, they will mess around and steal the show right from under you if you're not paying attention. You know, down in Atlanta and a couple places in North Carolina and stuff, the women's matches are some of the best matches on the card. You know, so there's so many great female talents out there now, as opposed to like the last 10 years, that's super excited for companies like Women of Honor, like Valkyrie, like Shimmer, like Queens of the Ring. Like, I'm super excited whenever I'm in town and I'm close to a venue that's hosting women's wrestling. I do my best to always go to a show, just because I know that these ladies are going to give me my money's worth.
Absolutely. Some of the most phenomenal wrestling talent out there are women. And it's good to see that Ring of Honor, after a very, very long time, recognizing that and giving the women a chance to be spotlighted on for their in-ring talents. No more strictly valets, no more interviewers. They're putting them in the ring, letting them do their thing, and they did a great job for that first Women of Honor TV show.
Like, we really, I think that we need to talk to Rick and Kev and everybody backstage. And I think we need to have like an all female night. You know, we invite like a bunch of female wrestlers up here and we talk to them and we figure out, you know, what's going on with them and stuff. Because, you know, not only in WWE, and I think to a point they kind of dropped the ball and everything, but on the indie level, everything non-WWE, not TNA, is blowing up huge right now.
Absolutely. So much great talent on the independent level for women's wrestling, coast to coast.
And speaking of coast to coast, Killer Kev, what's going on this week on the Angry Marks podcast?
Well, we've got no episode of the Impact Implosion this week because Seth Draken is off at the Mystery Science Theater 3000 big event. I don't remember exactly all the details on it, but apparently they're putting it on IMAX theaters all across the country tonight. So he's off doing that. So no Impact Implosion this week. It's going to be a double episode for next week. Tomorrow night we will have a new episode of Glove Up or Shut Up with Stevie J and Peter H covering all the wild craziness of UFC and Bellator and everything else in mixed martial arts. Thursday night will be Thursday Night AMP with Stevie J again, along with the Great Sudoku and Abby Arthur, discussing everything in pro wrestling news, covering everything that's going on in Japan, on the independents. And of course, we will probably get a little bit of Jordan Garber's Corner. You definitely want to check that out. And also shout out to Jordan Garber and his YouTube series, The Snake Pit. Definitely go look that up. That's some hilarious stuff right there. You definitely want to be listening to that. Friday nights, of course, is Over the Top Radio with Ed in San Antonio. And that pretty much takes us through our week back to next week.
Cool beans. All right. Any last minute words, sign guy?
Just get out there, support your local independents. Lots of shows happening this week with the holiday week coming up. Even on Monday, you're going to find some independent shows running, so keep an eye on that. Go out and support your local independents.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this has been an exciting night for the Undisputed Wrestling Show. I'd like to say thank you to our guests, Rory Fox and Julius Smokes, both for coming on the show and having a great time with us. For our executive producer, Rick Crane, for the greatest producer of podcast history, Killer Kev, for our two co-hosts who can't be here, the bearded wonder, Zane Paisley, and the Heroes and Legends champion, Drew Skills, and for my homie, my cohort, my partner in crime for tonight's sign guy, Kevin Sullivan's favorite wrestler. I am the Incredible Huck. I am the Morning Star, Will Huckabee. We'll see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Don't forget, support indie wrestling. You have a good